Okay, I watched it. Hey, Megtoes, this is Vention. Oh, check this out. Got my injectors. Not a bad day today. It's still cold enough that your breath steams. A little bit. It's actually starting to warm up. I think the worst of the winter is over. Well, oh boy, look at that. I've been hibernating through the winter. We've got some moles popping up here. I'm gonna have to go wash all that dirt down into the tunnels and give them a horrible drowning death. Okay, what I wanted to cover today was the fact that I watched the video. There, back in the day, you know, I was like, back when I was mostly just a prepper or silver stacker, government questioner, that sort of thing. I would see a lot of these flat earth people show up in the comments trying to, you know, push the flat earth idea. And it just never appealed to me. And what it appears to me is that it's just a mostly a, well, partially a group of people who are attempting to push a very crazy sounding idea with not that much proof, and associate us, anybody who doesn't fit the name mainstream, associate us with something that sounds crazy to normal people, so that they can sort of compare us and make it like less likely that more people would join our sort of course of action. It looked to me like the whole thing was just a big psyop. And now Miggy, our MGTOW 101, that I've been watching for a couple of years or more, has been, going the flat earth course. And Chris Cantu, a guy I support, and I watch, and he's pushing the flat earth too. But man, I just can't get on board with that. I mean, I watched the video. I mean, I sat through an hour and something minutes, and I must admit that some of the footage on Lake Titicaca, which is a very, very flat lake in Peru, it had some merit to it. Actually, it looked a little bit like, whoa, could these people be right? And the thing is, Lake Titicaca is a very flat lake, and the temperature differences of the air above the lake will be different, and they will be in layers, and hotter, warmer air and colder air will tend to bend light around even a curve of Earth. So it looks like it's like 100-mile totally flat lake. And so basically I'm not on board with that. And they don't mention the stars in the sky. I mean, in the equator, right, the stars basically come up in the straight east, and then they come straight up, and then they go over and then set in the west, right? And in the poles, both the South Pole and the North Pole, you can point a camera and get there's star streak videos all over YouTube. In the north, it just sort of travels in a big, like they're overhead, but they also travel in a big circle um, around the North Star, which doesn't appear to move. Then, of course, you got the same effect in the south, and the stars turn in a big circle, and but on the equator they go straight up overhead and down. That can only be explained by by a globe Earth. So basically, that journey that they're on, that flat Earth journey, that's a journey that I just cannot follow them on. So they're gonna have to go do their thing, and I'll have to see if I can just skip the videos where they're where they're going on and on about flat Earth, because man, I am not convinced. You're gonna have to come up with some better explanations. Like in Africa, right? Flights from South Africa to Argentina are like 10.5 hours, right? Whereas Florida to Brazil or Portugal are like 12 or 14 hours, right? So, but on the flat Earth map, the Argentina and South Africa are like way far apart, and yet and Portugal and or Brazil and Florida are a lot closer together, and yet it takes longer to get there by plane. So yeah, I'm not buying that either. Yeah, so the stars and the uh, yeah, the stars and the fact that you can get a plane ticket and fly quicker, where the flat Earth says that it's like way far apart. Um, I'm not buying that. And they also had evidence like that they presented it with experiments, like two buildings very far away from each other. They well, somewhat far. Basically, what they'd do is they'd get the distance between the 2 points, right, on two buildings, and then they would have go up in elevation to the top of the buildings and think that they would get like a farther reading, and they didn't, and which to them indicates that it's straight up and down, but to to everybody else it's just an indication that the software is not designed to provide a distance measurement in a 3D situation, and they just have 2 points in a map and they measure the distance between the two. And as far as like the 3D measurements of distance, I don't think the software is designed for that. But I do admit that some of the experiments that they performed on that Lake Titicaca in Brazil were surprisingly convincing. I was like standing there, wait a second here. I was like really watching that shit, and because it was looking like it was actually presenting evidence in that, on their side, and man, and I was like really paying attention to that. But the fact that they used radio waves, a laser, and just telescopes to look to the other side, and over that really, really calm sea or lake, and they saw the other side, and it's with the telescopes and stuff, and they and it looked really convincing, because that should be out of sight according to the regular curve of the Earth. But yeah, I'm going with the explanation that the water on there is like so flat, right? And it's like the temperature differences are are sort of stratified all the way across, acting as a lens. That's the only explanation I can come up with. But as far as the stars rising in the east and setting in the west on the equator, yeah, that definitely is a glaring thing. Yeah, that until they can come up with an explanation for that, and the fact that it's totally different on the poles, how they see the stars spinning in a big, huge circle. That is an indication that the Earth is definitely a globe. And of course, the flight times. On a flat Earth, there should be, I mean, there's flights in every single direction. And if there was a flat Earth, there would be the big, huge demarcation from the north to the south that nobody crosses, right? Like a giant section of the ocean that nobody can cross from one side to the other. So, but they actually have to go all the way around the other side. Like, we would have to know where that demarcation is, and they're not providing that information. So yeah, guys, that is a journey. Any of you who are flat earth, man, that is a journey that I just cannot follow you on. I'm very sorry, and I wave a fond goodbye. Enjoy your journey, but I'm not coming with you on that. So, MGTOWs, that's about all I got for you. I think I'll go put those injectors in. Later. Oh, and don't get married.